Hey everyone, Sean here, and today I want to reveal my Roth IRA portfolio. Before I go into that, I wanted to talk about my investing journey. So back in 2007, I graduated college amid the global financial crisis, and I really wanted to get into investing, but I was overwhelmed by all the information out there. Everyone had their own method, right? Oh, you should pick stocks. Oh, have you thought about option trading? You're gonna become a millionaire in a month. Do it. But I knew I had to start investing because I wanted to build wealth, and I understood that the poor and the middle class work for money, while the rich have money work for them. The one concept that made a lot of sense to me was compound interest. What compound interest is where you're earning interest on top of your interest. So if you invest $1,000 into something and you earn interest on that, right? The next period that you're going to earn interest, you're earning interest on your principal and interest. And time is a very important factor in this, because the more time you have that interest earning interest on top of your principal. If you want to learn more about compound interest, check out my video on it in the link above. So finally, in 2009, I finally got a job. And with my first paycheck, I bought $1,200 of a Vanguard index fund. And I invested $1,200 because it was a $1,000 minimum to get into that fund, and I had a little money extra. So let's take a quick look at my Vanguard transactions. So here are my Vanguard transactions, and you can see in March 2009, this is when I bought the Vanguard Star Fund. And I deposited $1,200 and I bought 90 shares of that. And you can see after that, I just set up automatic payments. I started at $150 and I just dumped in whatever money I had into this account. And that's one personal finance tip that helped me, was that just set up these automatic payments to take money automatically from my checking account to purchase funds in my Roth IRA. I also budget for this. I just thought, the money that I had left over after I took it out and invested in my Roth IRA, that was my spending money. And I never pretended that the money that I purchased funds in my Roth IRA was money that I could spend. Setting up automatic payments was really key because it took out the psychological aspect of investing in the stock market. I never worried if the market was too high or too low. Vanguard would just automatically pull money out of my account and each month and purchase funds. So I'm going to just kind of scan over my transactions, and you can see in June 2009, I finally got my first dividend. Amount of $33. I mean, that's pretty good after just a couple months of investing. You can see that I upped my purchases, and I put in as much money as I could and maxed out my contributions. And you can just see automatic payments. So in 2010, you can see the same thing. I just set up automatic payments where I would just automatically buy funds and I would give dividends and more dividends. And June 2012, I had $140 in dividends. And this is important because I automatically reinvested my dividends to purchase more funds, because that's part of compound interest, where you're earning interest on your dividends and your purchases and your interest. That thing just builds up into a big snowball. In 2017, you can see that I reallocated and changed funds, and I bought stocks and bonds. And if we go all the way up to 2020, you can see in 2020, I took out that money and I put that money into M1 Finance, and we'll take a look at my M1 Finance account right now. So here's my M1 Finance account. And you can see after 11 years of investing, my account value is now $101,768. And as I mentioned before, I recently switched my Roth over to M1 Finance because I just like the user interface better. And there are no fees to M1 Finance. And I like this reallocation feature where I can just easily reallocate my funds if I wanted to. And an interesting fact is that if I stopped contributing to my Roth IRA and left it alone for 30 years, I'm projected to have over $1 million. However, I will continue to contribute the max to this account so that I can have my money compound and work for me, and also take advantage of the tax benefits of a Roth IRA. If you weren't aware, the main benefit of a Roth is that all your earnings are not taxed. When I need to pull this money out from my Roth, the earnings won't be taxed. If you want to get updates of my Roth IRA portfolio, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification button. So here are my 3 keys to building that $100,000 portfolio. The first is start as early as possible. The best time to start something was 10 years ago, and the second time is now. If you're starting late, you still have a lot of options. Compound interest isn't biased to where you start or what kind of account you have. So if I were to start now, I would max out my contributions to my Roth IRA to take advantage of the tax benefits from that. Second, I would focus on maxing my contributions to my 401k. Then I would invest in my taxable accounts. Of course, obviously, everyone's financial situation is going to be different, so don't blindly just follow this advice. The second key is dollar cost averaging, because I didn't worry about timing the market. I didn't have to look at the stock market. I didn't look at it and go like, oh my God, the stock market's so low. Should I be investing in it right now? Is there something wrong with the stock market? Versus if it's too high, then I would think, oh my God, the stock market's overvalued. I should probably just wait when it's lower. It really takes you out of that trap. It's a trap! And you don't have to think about it, and it takes the stress off investing. The way dollar cost averaged in was basically look at the max contributions for each year and divide that amount by 12. And I just set up those automatic payments in my Roth IRA. And the third key, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. When I first started investing, I was really overwhelmed with all the information out there because everyone had their own way and their own method for investing. So what I did was that I chose Vanguard, and I chose a fund that handled everything for me because I was just getting overwhelmed with all the information out there. And I just knew I had to start as soon as possible because time is such an important factor in compound interest and building wealth. So going back to my M1 account, and what I mentioned before is that I changed my portfolio to something called a 3-fund portfolio. The goal of that fund is to have funds that cover 3 different asset classes. And those 3 asset classes are US stocks, international stocks, and bonds. And these 3 assets are usually low-cost index funds. They're good because they're diversified and easy to manage. And you can see the ticker symbols that I invest in are VTI, BND, VXUS, and BNDX. I know I listed 4 funds, but that's because I purchased international stocks to diversify my bonds. I still have US stocks, international stocks, and bonds. FYI, VTI is called the total stock market, but it only covers the US stock market. If you're interested in this portfolio or investing with M1 Finance, you can check out the link below. When you sign up and fund your M1 account, we'll both get cash to invest. And as you can see here, I'm about 70% stocks and 30% bonds. And sometimes people obsess over what allocation their stocks to bonds are. Remember, keep it simple, stupid. Don't let this stop you from investing. Just choose something and go with it. You can always reallocate later. The important part is just starting. When I first started, my allocation was 60% stocks and 40% bonds. And they say generally this was a mistake because the younger you are, the more heavily invested you want to be in the stocks because stocks earn more and you have more time to invest. So you don't really care if stocks really go up high or go up down low because it doesn't matter. This accounts for retirement. But when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew I just had to start. And on the other side, the older you are, the more you want to be invested in bonds because the value of them doesn't really fluctuate as much as stocks. So if you're near retirement, right, it only makes sense. You don't want to see your account fluctuate too wildly because you want to have money to spend. If you're stuck over allocation or which funds to buy, just buy a fund that reallocates and does everything for you, or go with a broker such as Betterment, and they'll just take care of everything for you. So in conclusion, I hope I inspired you to start investing in your Roth IRA if you haven't done so already. I'm not here to brag, and there's plenty of other people that have a lot more than I do. I just wanted to show you what the results were of 11 years of investing in my Roth IRA and the 3 keys that has led to a $100,000 portfolio. And I'm projected to have over $1 million in 30 years. So take care, everyone. Have a great day.